Okay, picture this. A Russian armored vehicle, right? It ducks into a thick tree line, hoping to vanish.
Uh-huh.
But then a Ukrainian drone spots it. The signal gets a bit choppy, right?
Yeah.
But the AI lock, that stays solid.
Wow.
Yeah, a little red marker just bounces on the operator's screen. And the strike drone, it's 20 kilometers away.
20 kilometers.
Then, bam, the strike hits. And this isn't some sci-fi movie plot.
No.
This is how.
Well, sources are saying something like 70% of targeted strikes are happening right now.
70%. That's huge.
Welcome to the Military Point.
And hey, before we really get into it, let us know in the comments, where are you all watching from? We're always curious to see.
Yeah, definitely let us know. Okay, so let's dive in. We've got some really interesting material here looking at, well, this massive technological jump in Ukraine.
Right, the whole drone warfare evolution.
Exactly. It's moved from these sort of improvised tactics early on to really institutionalized AI-assisted operations now.
It really has. And we need to figure out what this huge 70% shift, from artillery dominance to drone precision, what does it actually mean for the battlefield today?
It's fascinating stuff because you look back just 2 years, maybe drones were, 10% of strikes?
Yeah.
Mostly recon.
Yeah, small scale.
Now they're driving 70%. It's the main way things are getting done.
And the flip side is the real shocker, isn't it? Artillery, the king of battle for like a century.
Yeah.
It's down to maybe 10, 15% of strikes. That's a fundamental change in how battles are fought. It's not just about being more efficient.
No, it's a whole doctrine shift, and that's the really key insight here, I think. We heard from Heorhii Volkov. He commands the Yasny Ochi drone unit.
Ah, okay.
And his goal, he says, it isn't just hitting the enemy's guns anymore. It's not counter-battery fire in the old sense.
So what is the goal then?
His unit's mission is to completely mess up the enemy's ability to operate.
How?
By choking off their logistics, denying them the ability to mass, to fight effectively.
That is a really profound strategic change. Hitting the guns is like treating symptoms, right?
Exactly.
But going after the logistics, that's like going after the disease itself, the whole operation.
Precisely. Volkov was clear. They hit the entire chain. Fuel trucks, ammo convoys moving shells up, the guys maintaining the equipment, even the forward air defense protecting those assets.
Everything that makes the gun work.
Right. Take out the support. And that big artillery piece is just, well, it's a heavy paperweight. It forces the enemy back, makes them hesitant to even try setting up. It's tactical denial, way more effective than just blowing up one gun.
And this denial strategy, it's happening pretty deep behind the lines, isn't it? What's that operational middle ground look like now? How far back are they hitting?
Yeah, the sweet spot seems to be 20 to 30 kilometers behind the front lines. That's the most stable, most predictable range for these strikes.
And why that range specifically?
Well, hitting targets consistently there really disrupts things. That's often where supply dumps are, forward command posts. The stuff the enemy needs close, but not too close. Okay. And it's stable because of, well, power limits and communication consistency for the drones, getting out to, say, 60 kilometers. That's possible, Volkov says, but you need perfect conditions.
Like no wind, right temperature, light payload.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
hitting 60 kilometers is more opportunistic. Hitting 30 kilometers, that's becoming standard practice, almost doctrinal.
And that reliability, it must be driven by tech that's changing almost constantly. What's the workflow now? It's clearly not just one drone dropping one munition anymore.
No, it's a whole integrated system. It usually starts with a recon drone spotting something. That feed goes back. Maybe AI flags it, identifies it, gets a lock.
Real-time ID.
Right. Then the strike drone engages, often from that 20-kilometer range. And crucially, they often send another drone right after, a follow-on drone, just to confirm the hit, see the damage.
BDA battle damage assessment almost instantly.
Exactly. And the whole thing relies on speed and really advanced comms. Things like Starlink are vital for streaming that real-time video. That just wasn't possible reliably 2 years back.
The speed of that hardware evolution is just wild. I mean, Volkov talks about early 2022.
Oh, yeah.
They were using consumer Mavics.
Right.
Off the shelf, popping out memory cards to see the footage, carrying maybe 5 spare batteries.
You imagine flying the drone back, pulling the card, decrypting it, just to see what you saw.
Crazy.
And compare that to today. He says a single operating position might have several specialized drones streaming live video and carrying 40 or 50 spare batteries.
50 batteries.
Yeah. And they can operate effectively maybe 10, even 14 kilometers away from their actual command post location. That shift from DIY consumer gear to rugged integrated battlefield systems. That's the core story here.
Okay, so it's faster, more integrated, AI is helping, so it sounds like everything should be quicker, more accurate.
Well, yes and no.
Okay, here's the catch.
Kind of. Volkov actually offers a really important bit of caution here about the AI. He says, yes, AI-assisted targeting is vital, especially if comms are shaky or the target's moving fast, but it really struggles in what he calls cluttered environments.
Cluttered, you mean like trees and buildings, natural stuff?
Exactly that. Trees can totally confuse the algorithms. He even mentioned cases where, like, a puddle reflecting sunlight was misidentified as a vehicle because of the metallic lint.
Seriously, a puddle?
Yeah. So the point is, the human operator is still absolutely critical. They have to double-check every single automated lock before they commit to a strike.
So AI speeds up the processing, but the human handles the judgment, the nuance.
Precisely. The real world is messy, and the AI isn't quite there yet for handling all that mess on its own.
That makes sense. And speaking of reliability, amidst all the fancy AI and wireless tech, what's actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the battlefield day to day?
It's interesting, isn't it? Despite the hype, simple fiber optic drones are still dominant for certain missions.
Fiber optics? Like with a wire?
Yeah, a physical tether, because fiber is basically immune to electronic jamming, which is everywhere in this conflict. Sometimes the simplest, most robust connection is the one you can trust the most, especially for deep penetration or in heavily jammed areas.
Okay, so low tech sometimes beats high tech for sheer reliability. We also can't ignore the danger to the people doing this, these drone teams.
Oh, absolutely.
We read about pilots like Yevon. Even with all the gear, they often have to walk 5, maybe 7 kilometers.
Carrying everything.
Yeah, the drones, the batteries, the comms gear. Just to find a safe spot to launch from, that's incredible.
And they have to walk, because driving is just too risky. Enemy drones are constantly patrolling, looking for vehicles. So this daily 5-7 kilometer hike, lugging heavy kit, it highlights a really critical vulnerability. Logistics, especially that last mile, getting gear to the forward teams.
Yeah.
It's still incredibly dangerous and relies on human effort.
Right. If we connect that back to the bigger picture, relying on people walking for that last stretch seems like a huge unsolved problem.
It absolutely is. That's a major strategic gap right now. And it's where things like ground robotic systems could be revolutionary.
Well, autonomous delivery bots.
Exactly. Small, unmanned ground vehicles carrying supplies directly to those drone teams. It would take humans out of that dangerous trek, save lives, make the whole operation more efficient.
But they don't have enough of them yet.
No, not nearly enough deployed at scale to really solve the problem. It's an area that needs way more focus.
Okay, so let's talk about the strategic race here. Ukraine has obviously innovated incredibly fast. But is that speed enough to maintain a decisive technological edge? Especially against a larger adversary like Russia.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Volkov himself is actually quite cautious here. He warns against thinking Ukraine has some massive lasting lead. He describes the situation more as rough parity.
Rough parity.
Yeah. His point is that technology's tactics countermeasures, they spread incredibly fast on both sides now. Any advantage you gain is likely to be very short-lived because the other side adapts or copies it almost immediately. Russia's innovating quickly, too.
Okay, if it's parity, then why hasn't Russia's advantage in scale, just sheer numbers of tanks, troops, factories, why hasn't that just overwhelmed Ukraine's innovation?
That's a great point. And Volkov suggests the difference isn't purely technological, it's organizational.
How so?
He argues Ukraine's edge is in managerial speed. Their ability to iterate fast, to take an idea from concept to the front line, sometimes in just weeks. They're more agile organizationally.
Here's Russia.
Russia has the advantage in quantity and scale. They can produce more stuff eventually.
Yeah.
But their system, their bureaucracy, is slower to adapt, slower to implement new ideas. So the race is about exploiting that speed advantage before the weight of numbers catches up.
But there's a downside to that speed, isn't there? Especially when it comes from lots of different places, volunteers, commercial companies.
Yes, the fragmentation problem.
Right. That boom in grassroots innovation drove the speed, but it also creates chaos.
It's a real strategic headache. Volkov talks about this. If you have dozens of different groups making dozens of different drones, all needing different batteries, different control systems, different software, you lose interoperability.
Things don't talk to each other. Training is a nightmare. Spare parts.
Exactly. It makes scaling up much harder. So Volkov is pushing hard for clearer standards for modular systems. They need hardware that operators can learn quickly, that can be swapped out easily, that fits into a common pipeline. This fragmentation, ironically, can actually slow down the effective adoption of new tech in the long run.
So that brings up a really interesting question for everyone listening, I think. Given this constant back and forth, this tension between innovating super fast, often from the bottom up, and the military's need for structure, for standardization, how do you think a modern military should best balance that? Where's the right line between speed and structure? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So if we kind of pull the main threads together from this deep dive, what are the big takeaways?
Well, the battlefield seems totally redefined by these long-range logistics strikes now. That's the primary game.
Right, and the speed of iteration, adapting faster than the enemy, is critical. Managerial speed might be the key differentiator for now.
And there's this huge challenge of making AI truly reliable in the real messy world of combat, that AI paradox.
Definitely. And the sobering reality that any technological edge, any advantage, is probably going to be temporary. It's a constant race.
We've seen this dramatic shift, artillery pushed aside by air drones, changing what that deep battle looks like. But if the next big evolution is those ground robots solving that dangerous supply problem, that 5-7 kilometer walk,
Yeah.
what happens to the infantry? What's their main job when they don't need to physically carry supplies through dangerous routes anymore? When the logistics piece gets automated, that's a whole other question to think about, isn't it?
It really is. Something to keep a close eye on as this tech develops further.
You've been listening to The Military Point. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.